If your great-grandmother wouldn't recognize it as food, there's a good chance it belongs in the ultra-processed category, the nutritional Wild West of our modern food system. With names like cheese product, meat snack stick, and chocolate-flavored coating, these items may live on grocery shelves for years, but ironically, they might be shortening the shelf life of the people eating them. Thanks to 3 decades of increasingly sophisticated data, we now have a clearer picture of what these foods are doing to us as we age, and spoiler alert, it's not making us more youthful. Ultra-processed foods, UPFs, according to the NOVA classification system, are industrial formulations made mostly from ingredients not used in home cooking. Think hydrogenated oils, maltodextrin, artificial flavors, and colorants held together with nostalgia and shelf-stable ambition. They're designed to be hyper-palatable, low-effort, and emotionally satisfying. And to their credit, they deliver on those promises, until your mitochondria start filing complaints. Recent longitudinal studies involving hundreds of thousands of adults across Europe, North America, and Asia now tell a story that's hard to dismiss. People who consume the highest proportions of UPFs, often more than 50% of total caloric intake, consistently show signs of premature biological aging. We're talking shorter telomeres, those protective caps on your DNA that fray with age, higher levels of chronic inflammation, insulin resistance, and even earlier onset of frailty, like the body's way of saying, I miss real food. In one particularly eye-opening Spanish cohort study, individuals with the highest UPF intake had significantly shorter telomere lengths, a well-validated biomarker of cellular aging. The difference was equivalent to about 5.3 years of additional biological age. In other words, if you love snack cakes, your chromosomes might be celebrating their retirement while you're still working your day job. But it's not just cellular science sounding the alarm. Physical performance and mobility outcomes tell a similar tale. A 2022 analysis from the UK Biobank showed that older adults consuming more UPFs had significantly worse performance on walking speed, grip strength, and sit-to-stand tests, factors that predict falls, fractures, and nursing home visits. Imagine your legs aging faster than the rest of you just because you couldn't resist neon orange puffs. Even your hamstrings want you to break up with vending machine cuisine. From a chronic disease perspective, the links are downright persuasive. Diets rich in UPFs are associated with an increased risk of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and even certain cancers. The risk appears to go beyond traditional factors like calories, sugar, or fat alone, suggesting that something about the processing itself, or perhaps the lack of whole food synergy, is messing with our biology in ways we still don't fully understand. Maybe it's the emulsifiers. Maybe it's the synthetic additives. Maybe it's the fact that you've eaten something with the mouth-feel of packaging foam. And here's the wildest part. Most people aren't even aware they're eating so many of these foods. The average adult in the US gets nearly 60% of their daily calories from ultra-processed sources, usually under the mistaken belief that granola bars are healthy and protein shakes count as meals. In older adults, this becomes especially problematic because nutritional needs become more precise, just as appetite and digestion start to play hard to get. If a high percentage of your dwindling calorie intake is coming from UPFs, you're aging with fewer nutrients and more metabolic chaos, not exactly the wellness plan we were promised. But let's not end on a grim note. The beauty of dietary patterns is that they're modifiable. Multiple interventional studies have shown that when people reduce their intake of ultra-processed foods, even by just 10% to 20%, they see measurable improvements in inflammation, insulin sensitivity, and energy levels within weeks. Your body, it turns out, is less like a fragile clock winding down and more like a scrappy repair shop that just needs better materials to work with. So no, this doesn't mean you have to live a joyless life of barley porridge and filtered water. It means becoming a bit more mindful of where your calories come from and whether the food on your plate has more in common with a farm or a laboratory. Aging well isn't about chasing eternal youth. It's about giving your body the tools to do what it's been trying to do all along: repair, recover, and function beautifully. In the end, ultra-processed foods may be fast, cheap, and convenient, but so is a cardboard box, and no one's trying to eat that. 30 years of data suggest that if you want to age well, it might be time to give your fork a promotion, from snack shuttle to longevity weapon.